This morning, the High Court forced to confront the key question that will determine if Donald Trump goes to trial for trying to overturn the last election before the election this November. This as the former president faces fresh legal jeopardy for his efforts to subvert the 2020 election results. This time in Arizona, where a state grand jury indicted 11 Republican officials Wednesday for their unsuccessful ploy to award the state's electoral votes to Mr. Trump, despite his election loss to President Biden. Among those indicted, his former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, and Mr. Trump's former lawyer, Rudy Giuliani.
I will not allow American democracy to be undermined. It's too important.
Mr. Trump is described as an unindicted co-conspirator, but was not charged. Yet his efforts to stop the peaceful transfer of power...
We will never give up. We will never concede.
Also at the heart of the case in front of the U.S. Supreme Court today. As his legal team hopes to persuade the justices, he should be held completely immune from the charges. Any acts he took while still president, his side argues, must be shielded from any prosecution.
You cannot allow a president to be out there without immunity. They don't have immunity. You don't have a presidency.
But a federal appeals court was unpersuaded, using stark hypotheticals on what a future president could do and still avoid criminal charges.
Could a president order SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival?
In the view of Mr. Trump's lawyer, yes. Special counsel Jack Smith has urged the High Court to reject Mr. Trump's immunity theory, and quickly.
My office will seek a speedy trial in this matter.
Writing in court papers, a bedrock principle of our constitutional order is that no person is above the law, including the president. But the elephant in the courtroom, the impending election, as the prospect of a trial completed before November, very much in doubt.
Let's talk about this claim at the Supreme Court today of presidential immunity. We know that a president can't, by longstanding practice and tradition, can't be prosecuted while he is in office. But this is about criminal acts allegedly taken outside of office, potentially. So how broad is this claim here?
Savannah, the claim is so broad, so vast, that I think that's why so many have observed that the justices are unlikely to hand him a complete win, a complete full stop, saying that he's completely immune, because if he is, then he can do anything in office, including trying to have a political rival assassinated. And it seems unlikely that the court will go that far, but they can do things far short of that. And they might be interested in trying to uphold some limited immunity for official acts, things that happened while he was actually president. And that's where sort of the rubber is going to meet the road on this.
And if this trial is delayed past Election Day, no matter what happens today at the Supreme Court, that is a victory and part of the legal strategy for the Trump team, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And even if sort of, he gets a legal loss here, Savannah, if you will, the fact that we're even here today in front of the Supreme Court instead of at a trial is a loss in some ways for the special counsel's office that wanted to try to take this case to trial as quickly as possible. In fact, there are a variety of different scenarios, including the Supreme Court saying, we're not sure that there's actual immunity here, and we have to send the case all the way back down to the trial court to do a little bit more work on that. That, too, would be a loss for the special counsel's office, Savannah.
Okay, and we now have another case. This one comes out of Arizona, a state case indicting several individuals. Donald Trump is not mentioned by name. Is there a chance this case could reach him at some point? What are the ramifications of it?
Right. Even though he's not indicted, so many members of his inner circle are indicted in this case that it jeopardizes him to the extent that they could try to cooperate. We saw this in Georgia. And so if they put the squeeze on all those individuals and they flip on him, that's where the risk comes into play, Savannah.
All right, Laura Jarrett, big day at the court. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel, Today All Day. To watch, head to today.com/allday or click the link right here.